What's the Biz, your place for entrepreneurship, professionalism, and business. And I have a good friend, a frat brother, Kappa Alpha Psi, Dr. Chris Wright here with me today. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing today?
Man, doing good. It's a pleasure to have you here, man. You are an awesome person in our community and doing some great things. So first, just tell our viewing audience, tell us about yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm a dentist. I practice at Fresh Dental. You know, I've been working there for 7 years now. It may actually be 8 years since I graduated dental school. But I'm from the area. I'm from Bossier. I went to Airline High School, went down to ULM for undergrad. I did 4 years there. I got my biology degree. And then I did dental school at LSU in New Orleans. And I spent 4 years down there. And then after graduation, I moved on back home. And so I've been at this location my whole career.
Wow, wow. So tell us a little bit, we talked a little bit before recording, so tell us how did you get to Fresh Dental and how did that work out?
Yeah, and so it's funny, I always tell people like Fresh Dental was probably my first and last job. And so I graduated dental school, I had a friend that worked there, and the owning doctor at the time said he had an opportunity for me to come work there. And so kind of opportunity and me being lazy and not want to find other jobs and interview, I kind of was like, well, I'll take this job and I'll move back home for a year and then possibly move somewhere to a bigger city after that. But then I got there and I started liking it, and then 1 year after another year, and I had the opportunity to buy the practices back in 2016.
Wow.
I was able to purchase the Fresh Dental Bossier and Shreveport location at the same time, and I've been there ever since.
Wow, and I tell so many people, you're from Bossier, I'm from Shreveport, and so many of us understand and we know that you can have a great life right here in Shreveport, Bossier, yeah. And that's a misnomer that so many people are like, oh man, I have to move, and nothing wrong with moving, but you can build a great life here. So tell us, what all do you do in your dental practice?
Yeah, and so we do a whole array of services there. We do your preventive maintenance care. We see kids, adults, elderly patients as well. We do surgeries, we do fillings, crowns, root canals, we do veneers. We pretty much do everything except for traditional braces and wisdom teeth extractions.
Right.
We just recently started really getting into cosmetic dentistry, doing full mouth reconstructive cosmetic cases, and also doing some Invisalign as well. And so we're really excited about that. We started doing that maybe about 2 years ago.
Cool. And I've seen a lot of your pictures on social media, the before and the after, and you all do a phenomenal job. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit deeper about business here in our next segment. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back with Dr. Chris Wright. We're going to talk some real business stuff, so stay tuned.
My name is Jessica Lattin, and I am the owner of JL Counseling. I provide individual counseling, family counseling, and group counseling, and I cover a variety of topics, including grief counseling, anger management, depression, and anxiety. Domestic violence and maternal mental health are two topics that are very near and dear to my heart, and there is a lack of services here in our community, and that is why I chose to specialize in those two areas. There is a huge stigma surrounding mental health these days, and I really want to be a beacon of light in this community to show everyone that your mental health is just as important as your physical health. My favorite part about the counseling process is watching my clients achieve their goals and seeing the smile on their faces and the change in their attitude really helps me to realize this is why I became a counselor.
Welcome back to What's the Biz. I'm here with Dr. Chris Wright. Chris, let's talk about the roles that you play at Fresh Dental.
Yeah, and so I am the owner of the practice, and I also see patients on a daily basis. And so I kind of wear multitudes of hats in the office every day. But my main goal is treating patients and being a clinician and being a provider for those patients. It's a wonderful feeling being from the area, being able to give back to my community that I grew up in, and servicing the people that I went to high school with, their kids, past and present church members. So it's very awesome and rewarding to kind of be back in the community doing that. And so what I noticed early on in my career, and one thing I liked about Fresh Dental was that I employ a management company to help me run the business side of things. In dental school, we learn how to drill on teeth, fix cavities and those things, right? But we don't learn the business side too much.
Right.
And so I knew I wanted to have my own practice and be entrepreneurial, but I knew I didn't want to go to school necessarily to get my MBA like a lot of dentists do, or spend a lot of time and effort doing that when I could employ a management company and partner with them to be able to do a lot of those things for me.
Right.
So, you know, they handle all my insurance claims, make sure I'm getting paid, make sure my payroll is on point, and those things that we really didn't learn in school. So I think one thing about being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to pinpoint what you're strong at and your weaknesses.
Correct.
And then those things that you're kind of weak at, maybe ask for a little help for those things.
Exactly,
right?
yep.
And so I was fortunate to be in a situation where I was able to partner with a group that helps me do the things I'm not so great at, and allows me to spend more time focusing on what I went to school for and being a dentist.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because you know, a lot of entrepreneurs, they love what they do. That's the easy part, that's the passionate part. But then when it comes to the business side, I always joke with our team, I'm like, I just want to just shoot all day. I want to video all day. But there are so many other administrative things, and like you say, payroll and taxes and making sure everything is up to date that you have to deal with. So that's always the dichotomy of being the owner, but also working in the business. So tell us, so we talked about the owner side. So let's talk even on leadership. How do you deal with your team, and how do you deal with your staff?
Yeah, and so I think I like to lead by example, right? I feel like if I put my best foot forward, my team will follow me, right? I lead with respect and honesty. I give that to my staff on a daily basis and my patients as well. I feel like being very transparent is very important in a leadership role, because if you're open and honest about things, people tend to appreciate you. Even when things didn't go your way, if you're honest about how they come out, they respect you for that. Right. The second you don't have the respect from your patients or your staff, then you just lose all control of your practice.
Exactly.
And that's those things I've learned over the years, right? Lessons learned through trials and tribulations. But the more transparent you are, and the more honest and upfront you are about things, the better outcomes you will get.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's one of those things, like you say, if your team sees that you're working hard and that you're working with integrity, you know, they'll follow behind. And then at the same time, when you're also giving the latitude for them to help to make certain decisions and to come up with different ideas, that creates just a euphoria of worker, you know, with collaboration and all of that good stuff, man. So tell me this, if you had an opportunity to talk to 26-year-old Chris right now, what would you tell him with knowing what you know almost 8 years with your business?
Keep doing what you're doing. It'll work out. I've always been a firm believer in putting your head down and working hard. All right. If you put your head down and work hard, good things will come. Right. All right. And so I look back, I might have done a few things a little bit different here or there, but at the end of the day, I knew every time I went to my office, I was putting my best foot forward. I was working hard. I wasn't worried about what somebody over here was doing or what they got at this age or what accolades they've already accomplished. I saw those things and knew they could be done, but I wasn't envious of that. Right? Because you have your own path and your own journey. And so I would say double down on some things that I was already doing. Right? Really believe in what I was doing a lot sooner. Trust in yourself. Don't second guess yourself so much. I mean, I had a lot of success at a young age. I was truly blessed, but I would have done even more at a younger age, and just because a lot of times I pulled back just a little bit because I was too apprehensive. Maybe I'm too young, or maybe I took on too much at this time. And really I didn't. You're young. You're going to be able to make mistakes at those times. You'd much rather make mistakes at a 26, 27-year-old than you get 35, 40 making mistakes. And so I think that is one thing that I would tell myself. Just double down on what you're already doing and keep pushing. Y'all,
this is awesome. I'm excited about the next portion of the show. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with business. So we're here with Dr. Wright. Stay tuned. Do you want to play for a church, play with a band, produce music, or even provide live sound? Listen and Play School of Music is for you. We currently offer piano, drum, organ, voice, music production, and live sound training. With lessons from our seasoned instructors, we can take your music abilities to the next level. Visit our website, listenandplaymusic.com, or call us at 318-232-0756. Listen, play music. Welcome back to What's the Biz. We're here with Dr. Wright, and I'm excited about this segment. We're really going to help somebody in this segment. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly as it comes with business or comes with an office or with a staff. So let's just talk a little bit about that. What's your experience with business? Some of the good, some of the bad, and maybe not some of the so pretty.
Got you. I mean, some of the good, like I alluded to earlier, is being able to treat people that I've grown up with. Building those relationships with my patients. It really is a family environment in my office. You walk into my office, the music's going, you know, it's a good feel in there, and you feel comfortable. And so that's always very rewarding. Kind of some of the not so good. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still dealing with people, right? And so you have to be able to relate to all type of people, whether it's your staff or your patients, because I'm in the business of service. I have to please my patients, and that can be very stressful on me as an individual to want to seek the approval of everybody all the time. And we're not always going to get it right. And no matter what we do, you're going to come across some patients that might not like you for whatever reason, or you know, but you have to deal with that. And you have to address those situations. And so, if you take things really personal, that can really weigh on you. And early in my career, it did. And I was taking work home with me. I was beating myself up about a patient who maybe didn't like, I don't know, the paint on the wall in my office, right? And so I took that so personal. And then I had to realize, you know, I had to be able to separate myself from that. I still care about pleasing everybody, but I can't let that weigh down on me, because I see 20, 30 people a day. Somebody's going to be a little happy about something, right? But I still try my best to appease those people and to please them every time I see them. So I think that's one of the more difficult things I had to deal with at a younger age, and even still today. But I know how to manage those situations a little bit better now as I've gotten older in my career. Because again, we're in the business of serving people. You want to put your best foot forward every time. I want to people walk out my office and say, this is the best office I've ever been to. 10 out of 10. But the reality is that's not always going to happen. And I have to accept that. And the same thing with my staff. You want to train your staff up and have them be able to put their best foot forward as well. And you have to realize not everybody you meet, you can talk to them the same way. You have to find different ways to encourage people, to motivate people. But the way I motivate you to do something, it might not be the same way I motivate a patient or somebody else. So I try to always be relatable. But I think one thing I always strive for in my office is to present patient education for patients, right? The importance of brushing your teeth. It's simple, but a lot of us take that for granted. Brushing twice a day, flossing every day, because those things can lead to a great oral health. Right? And if you don't do those things, it can be very detrimental to your, not only your teeth, your overall health. And so a lot of it is educating patients, but educating them in a way that they understand it and they feel it. And I think that's very important. So that's kind of the not so good sometimes. But I've been very fortunate to be in a situation, like again, with my parent company that I partner with, they handle a lot of the stuff that probably would have caused me issues and been really stressful for me. And so I try my best to not take work home with me. So early on, I was taking a lot of work home with me. I wasn't ending my day at 5. I'd go home, worrying about what was going on, doing office stuff. Even though I have them, I would run numbers and still check payroll. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm leaving work at 5 and going to spend time with my family. And then that allowed me to be a better clinician, because now I'm not drained and burned out because I took work home. So I think that's some of the ugly part. If you let it consume you, it can really weigh down on you a little bit and drain you.
And you know, it can. I started off early as well. So I was a young single man when, you know, the business started off. So I could be at the studio all day. But I think what really changed, of course, when I got married, but you know, you don't have a child around. But once I started to get children, I wanted to be home even more. So I understood, okay, cool. I was at work all day. It's time to just turn it off. Let me just put my phone over here. So that's one of those things that I really had to learn and learn those boundaries and learn that self-care. Well, Chris, look, we're going to talk about the future, which your future plans. I know some exciting things going on in your head. We're going to talk about that on the next portion of the show. So y'all stay tuned to What's the Biz.
In our 35-year history, this is the most important thing that we have done from an awareness perspective, from a fundraising perspective, from a volunteer perspective. When people understand your mission and why you exist and what you hope to change as a result of your nonprofit, they better know how to connect with that mission. I think one of the things when you talked about women, and I really want to talk about that. In a 2-month period of time from November 1st through December 31st, we were able to gain over 100 new donors, which equated to about $100,000 in additional revenue in a 60-day period of time. And so it's not that one-time gift, it's that name, it's the connection, it's the relationship.
We're back. What's the biz? Dr. Chris Wright. We've had an excellent conversation today talking about entrepreneurship, talking about business, and just talking about life. So tell us, what are some of your future plans and future goals?
Yeah, and so, man, social media is a powerful place, right?
Yes, it is.
And so I've recently been posting a lot of cosmetic cases on my page before and afters, and that's gained a lot of traction. And I've been very fortunate to be able to enhance a lot of people's smiles and give them something they didn't have before and build confidence. And so as that kind of grows, I really want to grow my practice as well. I'm looking to relocate one of my offices to a bigger office now because as the practice is growing, we're just kind of running out of room. And so it was a great thing. And so here in the future, I plan to relocate one of my offices and have a bigger office to be able to serve the community a lot better.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be awesome. And it's always time for growth. What are some other things that you got in the view? I know that you want to get more patients, and I'm excited about the cosmetics. I think I told you I've been on Facebook 1,000 times and I've seen a not so good smile all the way transformed into a beautiful smile.
Yeah.
So I know you're looking to do that. What are some other things that you're looking to do, even personally?
Yeah, and so again, like as my family grows, I have a 3-month-old now, and so I want to spend more time at home as well. You know, again, leaving work at work and being able to give my family 100% as well.
Yes.
And so it's just as my family grows, just be there for them, be there for my daughter with dance, and just watch my kids kind of grow. And that's equally, if not more rewarding, to be able to be at home with my family and be really present. And that's very important to me now as I transition into the next phase of my life.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man. I'm getting into the mid-30s, so our focus is a lot different.
Exactly.
More than ever, family comes first. So
Absolutely.
Anything else that you want to tell our viewing audience, if they're an entrepreneur, a business person, or even a professional that wants to get into your industry?
Yeah, and so I think the most important thing I would say is to believe in yourself. All right, always bet on yourself and trust your vision. It doesn't matter if people don't see the vision at the same time as you see it. It's important that you see it,
right,
and then put 110% effort into that vision. I was actually reading something the other day, and it said most people ignore opportunities because all they see is danger. Entrepreneurs ignore danger because all they see is opportunity. And that really hit home with me.
Man, look, you got to say, make sure you say it right there in that camera. Right, say it right there.
So most people ignore opportunities because all they see is danger. Entrepreneurs ignore danger because all they see is opportunity.
Wow.
And so that really hit home with me because you have to really bet on yourself and really believe in what you're doing.
Yes, especially when nobody else believes, or sometimes even the trends aren't showing that to be favorable. We had some guests earlier, they started their business right at the beginning of the pandemic, and they're doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Well, man, look, I appreciate you for coming through.
Yes, sir.
Dropping those gems, dropping that knowledge. I'm going to steal that last quote. Who did you say came up with that?
I don't even know.
Okay. Well, whoever did, I'll say it's credited to unknown, then it'll be credited to me.
There we go.
Thanks again for joining What's the Biz, your place for business, entrepreneur, and professionalism. We'll see you next time.